This is an historic, important video. Now, there's a really great video this young man and this people are doing. You know, they've got millions of views. They've taken on this nuclear thesis, and it's a good video. But, you know, I passed where he's at 30 years ago. I've been at the Trinity site. Now, as you know, no one can get to the Trinity site. You can't go there, as he explains, twice a year. I've been there. They're still covering it up to this day. Now, this is important, and you watch his video. It's a fantastic video talking about the nuclear fallout. Now, I'm going to do a tribute to Bob Gibson, you know, and I'll point out the milk study because it all ties to St. Louis. Everything's tying to St. Louis right now. Because Bob Gibson died, Kurt Flood died, the mound, the tooth study was done in St. Louis. Now, when I was a child, right here in Utah, I grew up on a dairy farm. The anti-nuclear movement was gigantic because of the open-air test. We all fucking knew. We were freaking out around here. I was a little kid. I refused to drink the milk, and I grew up on... Now, remember, my dad was a drafted Marine here. Drafted. Not in 1953. People are confused about that. This kid gets this right. The first test was in 1951. In 1951, they used U.S. Special Forces Marines. And I have the classified picture that I put up dozens of times. My uncle gave me, who was a big wig at the Pentagon. He's still alive. I says, well, can I use this? Yeah, I give you permission. I says, well, I thought it was classified. Let him come after fucking me, he says. He's alive, living in Alaska. So, grew up right here on this dairy farm that I grew up on. My father comes home from Pendleton. Everybody thought, no one heard from him for a long time. My grandma was personal friends with Mariner Eccles, who was I mean, come on. You're the Federal Reserve's named that. He's from Ogden, you know, and she's on the phone. She's digging in, blah, blah, blah. The story goes that Mariner told her, because no one heard from him forever, and everybody thought he was dead. You know, he was getting combat ready for Korea. Hell's Kitchen. Drafted Marine. This dude was a beast. A beast. My mom used to say I married him because he looked just like Elvis with muscle. He was that good looking. He was that physical. He was that dynamic. He was a genius, by the way. That's who they used. They put him in cages. In cages. You know, everybody talks about the 53. And no. It was called Air Blast 1 and Air Blast 2. He was Air Blast 1. He told me before he died that he could see the, you know, his bones through his hands. He woke up, they fed him LSD to alter their mind. He woke up in a hospital in San Diego. He used to tell me all the time, he says, I don't know why I came home. He says, them San Diego girls, whoa, crawling up in bed with me. You know? He was one of those dudes. I mean, he was that beautiful, that powerhouse. He died in the prime of his life of AML leukemia. Just, I mean, watch the other video. But this is important now because you'll get information you're going to get from no one but me on Earth. So, he had a twin boy and girl, which is a mutation by definition. I'm one of them. I was so sick. I was so fucked up. You don't even know. My mom didn't even, you know, he met my mom. My mom was a pinup artist at Woodbury. You know, speaking of the film industry, and we'll get into that. And, I mean, brilliant artist. Probably the best. She's the best artist I ever fucking saw. My grandpa, Abraham Hunsaker IV, the philanthropist, the powerhouse, who was the Mormon socialist, really famous guy. That line is so famous. He, by the way, did not believe in inherited wealth. I didn't inherit one dime. So I refused to drink the milk when I was a kid. That was my intuitive mind, Einstein. I wouldn't. I was sick as fuck. I mean, really sick. Bob Gibson talked about how he had asthma. I was severely asthmatic. My mom she was a pinup artist. Everlane himself used to say about my mom, he'd say not only was she could draw like a camera, she could have been her own model. She came home, she rejected the whole dynamic, and now I know because everything's come out what sexist creeps they were. No wonder she came home and burned all her fucking paintings and rejected it. And that she met my dad at St. Onofre on the beach. You know? Well, I know they hang there a lot with my grandpa. I had a place in Pacific Beach, California. You know, La Jolla, you know. All these fuckers Fermi. And this is important. You're going to get this nowhere. This is historic and important stuff. So, when Trinity was dropped, Fermi, who I still say Jeff Bezos' grandfather is Geis. Yeah, Los Alamos. All these ties tied to Los Alamos. Bill Eugenics, all of them at Los Alamos. Now stay with me. You'll get this nowhere. This is extremely important. So Fermi bets, they all bet $1. Oppenheimer, all of the who's. Fermi bets $1 that it kills everybody in New Mexico. By the way, Oppenheimer says he thought it might suck all that freaking energy out of the atmosphere and kill everybody within 100-mile radius. That's Oppenheimer. He did it anyway. Now, this is where you're going to get the hook. Epstein. Epstein Island's at Los Alamos for a reason. That's where his line comes from. They're all German, Austrian nuclear physicists from the old Austrian Hung. All of them, including Einstein. Einstein was a Quaker. Einstein rejected this whole dynamic. He knew, he was aghast about the whole thing. So it is unarguable fact that it was Eastman Kodak who fucking found, like, he goes into this beautiful dynamic about the downwinders was picking up the radiation because nobody knew. The governor didn't know. Everybody, they just lied like they're Fukushima, like Hiroshima, like Nagasaki, like Santa Susana, like I know. Now here's where you're going to get, nobody on earth has ever talked about this but me. I've been at this my whole fucking life. Eat, sleep, drink it? No, I literally sleep with it. I've got AML leukemia. I was given 2 months to live 9 years ago right now. Oh, it doesn't pass through the genome? Oh, you missed some radio roundup? Same clan. Bayer Monsanto's the same clan as these nuclear physicists. Operation Paperclip on chemo and Balco. They're monsters. They're madmen. Not my words, Einstein's words. So Eastman Kodak, I was at the hearings in the 90s in D.C., you know, because of my father's death, and my mom got no money, never got a fucking penny, you know, and all this fucking, what he went through, our family went through, nothing. So the baby tooth study was in St. Louis, which was covered up. They were going to dairy farms. Now, this is important because the exact same study was done when Fukushima happened. I have the transcript from the Berkeley professor who was secretly taking students, and they were gathering up milk studies in the Bay Area, California, including Sacramento, up and down all over. He had them. He leaked them to me. I have them. They're classified. I'm classified from what I find out. But here's the most important thing. So as Eastman Kodak started finding it in their film. Now that's exactly how Chernobyl was fucking identified. And if you don't think, you think, oh no, Chernobyl was the same way. Because Igor, the fucking photo guy, Igor, which I was in Budapest and in Vienna when he was killed, the day he was killed, I was on the Danube walking from the IAEA the day when he died. We just had a conversation about him. It was his film. The radiation went in and only one photo survived. It got to Europe and it changed the world on the dynamic of Chernobyl. That's how we found out of Chernobyl. It was Icar's picture. So Eastman Kodak's fucking coming out saying, look, we're picking up the radiation in our film. It's fucking up all our film. So there's a deal cut by Eastman Kodak. Here's where you're going to get it. Eastman Kodak's not Eastman Kodak. It's EPSTEIN Kodak. What? Epstein was brought here. Now, Linda McCarthy, she's Linda Eastman, the daughter of Eastman Kodak? Yes. Imagine that. Yoko Ono's parents, heir to the Japanese royal family, the club? Oh, yes. They changed their name like everybody did. They changed it to Eastman. So they sued. This should have been went into the public domain and everybody should have known. You know, the senator spoke, as he says so elegantly, in 97 and went crazy. I'm going crazy. Everybody's going crazy. We're going to reopen the fucking, you know, these guys like Kevin Blanch's father is going to get some money, going to get some recognition, going to get it. There's a monument here at our cemetery to him. The only one in the world. He was murdered. They try to make a sequel out of me. So why did Kodak stand down? Because you think it's a coincidence? Epstein's ranch is at Los Alamos? The Zorro? I'm telling you, one day you're going to wake up and realize. So Eastman Kodak cuts the fucking deal and says, oh, we'll just, here, take a check. We're not going to tell anybody. Why? They didn't tell anybody. They were gathering the milk studies. You know how many people died from them opening her fucking chest? And here in Utah, they want to bring new scale little reactors. It's a brilliant piece this kid's dead, young man's done. And it's got lots of views. Thank you for doing it. But where he's at on this dynamic, I was at 30 years ago. I've taken it way further. And anybody, you people that go down this rabbit hole and don't understand the cover up of Fukushima, you really are a fool. You know, Fukushima is billions of Trinities. Billions. What do you think these fires, and as you know, I call it Fuktonium. One day, you know, you'll come out, and Kevin Blanche, probably the most important scientist in a fucking entire era. I run off the intuitive mind like Einstein did. You know, I've always run off the intuitive mind. So, Eastman Kodak is Eastman Epstein. First cousins. First cousins to Jeffrey Epstein. You know, why do you think he had the passport to Saudi Arabia? Why do you think the nuclear reactors are trying to build at Saudi Arabia? I mean, this is the tip of the pyramid. I've tried to fucking explain this for decades. No one will listen to me. You know, my cancer, what a story. It's the thumbprint and the hallmark of breaking this fucking nuclear pyramid. You know, so Bob Gibson has died of cancer. Kurt Floyd's died of cancer. You know, the mound in St. Louis, the baby 2 study in all covered. They're covering it up again now from Fukushima. What do you think these fires are? What do you think COVID-19 is? There's no doubt in my mind it's a mutation from the Fukushima disasters. It's never happened. This is billions of fucking Trinities. Billions. And Trinity was all that nightmare then some. But Eastman Kodak is Eastman Epstein. Linda McCarthy, who died of cancer young. Yeah. I can get into the Lennon fight with McCartney was all over nuclear. By the way, in 1963, when John Kennedy put a stop to this, Rachel Carson died of cancer. She read his book. His wife demanded. I still say that's who the CIA killed him. Of course the CIA. Who do you think the CIA is? The CIA is the nuclear energy car. When they can hire PR firms and I can track them down and go right to the FBI and attack me when I'm in an ICU unit, when I'm full of cancer, fucking in critical condition fighting for my life, and they can legally do this to me. The son of a special forces Marine. My uncle stood on Omaha Beach on fucking D-Day who raised me. You know? In the Battle of the Bulge. And they can legally, why I'm full of cancer, strip my PhDs, take everything, take my fucking money, I mean, whatever. Hello. The tip of this pyramid, Jeffrey Epstein, is the nuclear energy crime syndicate. The nuclear industry. Price Anderson, there's no liability, free fucking money. Maxwell, every one of them. Flynn, Manafort, Beau Biden, every one of them lead you right here, and then the media stops because the media are fucking cowards. You know, in the 90s, you had senators that went after this dynamic. It spoke about this. It's outrageous. They didn't warn us. Thank God. I mean, that was my intuitive mind. I refuse to drink milk. You know, and you're eating American dairy to this day. Fukushima. So I'll do more and more, but you can run from me all you want. But I've been to Trinity. I've been to the site. Very few people have. They're covering it up to this fucking day. Fermi again. He died in La Jolla young. Fermi did. You know, I was in La Jolla in those days. You know, my grandparents, you know, I remember my grandpa, you know, and he's Swiss-Austrian. I mean, you're talking one of the most powerful people in the United States history is that Hunsaker line. Abe the First is the guy who found the cure of the Sitter's Mill. You know, my grandfather's Abe the Fourth, the Mormon socialist, communist, German revivalist like him, Einstein. Easy. I mean, he was a gem, by the way. Fantastic man. When I was learning to speak German, I ever hear you speak. And I'm in Vienna a lot. And they'll say, why is your German so broken? Whatever. And I'm like, because my grandfather refused to let me speak it. Because of World War I and because of World War II. I was not allowed to fucking speak it. You know. They're back. Eastman Kodak, which is the linchpin in this fucking cover-up, is not Eastman Kodak. It's Epstein. So McCartney and Lennon broke up because of the, let it be, let it be. Remember McCartney's mother who died so young, just like his wife of cancer? If you start a revolution, you can count me out. Lennon was the greatest. He claims he had a fucking dream because they were radical, they were anti-nuclear, they were pissed because she lives next to Shellfield. Everybody knows what Shellfield, they don't, I guess. John Lennon sure the fuck knew. One of the greatest activists who ever walked the face of the fucking earth. Yoko Ono, the daughter, they capture. I mean, it's the nuclear industry has got control of the museum. They got control of the fucking film industry. They got control of it all. It's time that it fucking finally. I've been screaming this for decades. It cost me my PhD, cost me my teaching career, cost me everything. I taught at the Water School of Business, the nuclear cartel. That's them. That's them. Hello. I went to the Water School of Art. Hello. Mother Mary came to me. Let it be a dream. Lennon says, fuck you. I'm not letting it be. These nuclear madmen killing. You're going to even the death of your own mother. Ask Mike Lee. His own father died young, and he's all in on the nuclear car. I'm saying. Ask Barry Antoinette Obama. I mean, I used to always think Obama will break their back on this because his mother was a downwinder from the open air test in Nevada. Kansas got hammered harder than anyone. Of course, he was smart. No, he wasn't. Our group asked him, what are you going to do about Hanford? And this is a guy propped up with a nuclear. I got to tell you, I don't know what Hanford is. You know, it's my role as the PhD, the activist, the cancer victim. You know, run from me. I don't give a fuck. It's my fucking role to educate this fucking world. I educate politicians, and I have no money. I get by with a little help from my friends. I'm going to try. And John Lennon was the greatest, by the way. He stood up to the machine. We saw what happened to him. They try to make a sequel out of me. For I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I fear no evil. For the angels they mass murdered, including McCartney's mother, including Linda Epstein. Oh, they watch out over me. Because I am their voice. I am their spirit. I am their lightning fucking rod. Because I was given 2 months to live, and there's no way I should have lived. But I have. To their chagrin. Stay tuned.